We already talked about adult learning principles, but I like to show you just another way of thinking about it because it's such a big piece of this early intervention work. I really like this work from someone who's not in our field, Dr. Daniel Kahneman, and he talks about our thinking systems and human behavior. And he says there's two thinking systems. System one is our very quick responses to things, very automatic, very procedural. I wake up, I turn off my alarm. It's the thinking we use for 2 plus 2 or the thinking we use to tie our shoe. And then there's system two, which is more thoughtful, slow, and deliberative. It's our analytical thinking where we're more focused. So that's the thinking we use for 17 times 24 or searching in a crowd to find somebody that we're looking for. So with those two thinking systems, what we know is that when adults do everyday routines, wash my hands, brush my teeth, get the mail, we can multitask during those routines. We can be on the phone at the same time. We can wave hi to a neighbor and still be opening the mailbox and getting things out because it's so procedural and automatic for us. It's system one thinking. But for children, especially young children, that's all system two thinking, right? They have to really carefully think, oh, what comes next? How do I turn the knob? Do I have soap? Is there a towel nearby? My hands are dripping. That's not automatic for them, right? So most adults don't give this much thought. What's classic in a home visit is to have the parent say, oh, let me hurry up and get them ready for you. He's going to go wash his hands or finish his snack or whatever. And they rush through all of these things where the child has all these learning opportunities, right? So for kids, the system two thinking, the everyday routines and activities really are the magic moments. And because they happen the same way every time, they're these beautiful anchors, right? There's so many opportunities. What we know about routines is that they often repeat in a predictable, sequential way, and there's usually a functional outcome. So the mail gets brought in, the car gets started, the seatbelt gets buckled, right? This is where it's so interesting to think about our standardized tests, because we might ask the child, show me your nose, show me your eyes, show me your this, show me your that. If they don't get them right, they miss the items on the test, but the parent will say, go wash your hands, and the child will go towards the sink and put their hands under. So it's because those things happen over and over, the child's learned them, and we can say, oh, they know what their hands are in the context of that family's everyday activity. So this is why routines-based intervention is actually a thing. And even if you're pushing in or you have a preschool classroom, there will be everyday consistent routines that are happening in that class as well. So you'll want the child to have those opportunities to learn in those moments. There are these everyday moments, everyday activities, where play, on the other hand, is just for the sake of play, right? There's nothing else to achieve other than fun, creativity, also could be social, and it may not repeat in that same sequential way. They're both valuable learning contexts. Both are important, but we think of play like creative, spontaneous, novel, and routines as the anchor, right? And let's say I want to teach a parent how to use wait time. Think of how much harder it's going to be to teach that during play. The parent is maybe on the floor with their child. The cars are out, the child's rolling the car around, and then you want to practice this wait time strategy. You can totally do that, but the parent is not necessarily going to know exactly where to practice it because the play is always changing. It's creative, it's novel. If we want to teach them to use wait time during a everyday routine, let's say putting on the seatbelt in the car, we can tell the parent, he knows that routine, that you're not going to close the door until that buckles on. So if you just stand there and you wait, do you think there's a chance that he's going to look at you, initiate, vocalize, smile, try to be independent to do it himself? The child understands the sequence of the routine. So we're building in easy anchors of where to put the strategies. So now the parent knows, oh, we get in and out of the car twice a day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day, whatever it is. Each time I can pause here, right? I can put in that strategy. And now my child just got 4 opportunities to practice this. Again, just thinking about routines-based intervention involves using the family's own setting, their natural environment, their people, their materials. The routines will have a clear beginning, opportunities to repeat, a logical sequence. They're usually predictable and there's usually a functional outcome. So the parent doesn't say, oh, I didn't get a chance to play with them with the puzzle this week. That's okay. You got all the stuff done that you needed to do. There's functional outcomes and embedded learning opportunities. And the best routines have opportunities to expand or retract. Let's say the parent knows, oh, we're going to use this during the bath time routine. Then we just say, okay, if it's before you turn on the knob for the water to go down, maybe the child knows, uh-oh, the water's always this high. And tonight mom only puts in a little tiny bit, right? Like just the tiniest little bit. And then she just waits, and it's a communication temptation. She's tempting her child to say something's wrong here. And so that's a possibility of implementing a strategy into a daily routine. Now, mom can do that strategy if she only has 10 minutes for the bath on Tuesday night, but she can also do that strategy if she has way more time on Saturday night for the child to play in the tub for 45 minutes. So the best routines will be able to be done quickly with opportunities or expanded. But it's always the caregiver's decision which routines are used. In our home visits, we almost always see play, but we don't always see those bigger routines happening. And then what happens the rest of the time when we're not there in between the visits? Play may or may not happen, but the routines always happen, right? The stuff that families have to do always gets done. Just keep in mind that we can always add play and playfulness to everyday routines, and families are usually really good at that. For example, we're doing the snack routine and we're flying the airplane into your mouth, or peekaboo while we're folding towels, or making up songs to washing the dishes and singing to the child at the same time. I think you'd be surprised in real life. It's really hard for therapists to explain to families why the routines are valuable and important. So I try to give a lot of examples or resources. It's nice to have some visuals to show like, hey, if I work with your child directly, it's not going to have the same impact as if we're doing this together during the everyday moments. What we know is that when we provide direct therapy, so if I come in with a toy bag, or even if I'm empty-handed, but I work directly with a child for 2 hours a week, that's going to account for just 2% of a child's daily life, right? But if I coach the parents in just 20 everyday moments and learning activities, that provides more than 40,000 learning opportunities by a child's first birthday. There's just so many more learning opportunities because these are the things that happen all the time, every day.